The beeping beside my bed was too steady, too calm. Machines breathing for a body that refused to move. I woke in a hospital room with the stench of disinfectant cutting the air like glass. My throat was dry, my ribs ached, my head felt hollow. They told me I had been lucky. If a truck hits you on a wet highway at midnight and you live, they call it a blessing. I called it interruption. I had been on my way home, heart racing with something close to joy, an unfamiliar feeling. $329 million, my father's estate. Overnight, I became a man with power, with future, with options. I remember gripping the steering wheel, imagining the look on her face. Not that I needed her validation, but I had wanted to believe she would be happy for me. Then, headlights, impact, blackness. Now here I was, bandaged, broken, alive. She didn't come. The nurse said my wife had been notified. My phone confirmed it. Missed calls from my attorney, colleagues, none from her. So I called. Her voice was bored, irritated. She didn't ask if I was okay. "I'm busy," she said, "and I don't have time or money to waste on a loser lying in a hospital bed." A faint chuckle followed. Then the line went dead. I stared at the ceiling. Pain didn't come from broken bones. It came from clarity. The woman I shared a life with had already left me long before the accident. Today merely stripped the veil. Days later she arrived. Not alone. A man with polished shoes, gold cufflinks, and a serpent smile stood beside her bed. She smirked like she came to spit on a grave. Then he saw my face. His eyes widened. He stepped back, voice trembling. "Oh my God, he is my—" He didn't finish. He didn't need to. Something ancient and cold slid into place inside me. I simply blinked. Silence was my weapon, time my ally. Before the accident, her distance had felt like mood swings, bad days, stress. That's what I told myself. But the truth had been clawing from beneath the surface for months. The late nights with friends, the private smiles at messages she pretended were unimportant, the sudden disdain when I walked into a room. Indifference is sharper than hate. It slices deeper. I replayed every small moment now, strapped to machines like a spectator in my own life. Her cold eyes at breakfast, her phone angled away, her touch, rare, mechanical, obligatory. And yet I had kept moving forward, convincing myself love was patience. Foolish. The man beside her, I knew him. Not personally, but by title. Financial advisor. My advisor. The one who had congratulated me just hours before the accident. I had called him after the inheritance news, loud with excitement. He'd sounded genuinely happy. Or so I believed then. And now here he was, with my wife at my hospital bed, laughing. They discussed mortgage paperwork like I wasn't breathing in front of them. She asked if he wanted dinner afterward. He joked about celebrating properly. I felt nothing. Emotion had evaporated, leaving only observation. So I watched, listened, filed away every word like evidence in a quiet courtroom. When I was discharged, I did not confront her. Confrontation is for people who need answers. I already had mine. I returned to a house that suddenly felt like a museum, filled with artifacts of pretense. She stayed out that night, and the next. She didn't care enough to lie anymore. Good. I worked in silence. Phone records, bank statements, GPS logs, cloud backups she forgot I controlled. Their affair wasn't impulsive. It was curated, calculated. He had coached her financially. She had coached him emotionally. A partnership built on resentment and ambition. The perfect crime in their minds. A new life built on burying mine. They didn't know I had already rewritten the terms of the estate. Everything placed in trusts. Protections against spousal claims. A fortress of clauses. Money had taught me one thing early. Trust contracts, not hearts. She was still legally my wife, but legally powerless. My attorney asked if I wanted to pursue fraud charges. Not yet. Revenge tastes best when served slowly, awareness dawning like frost. Thanksgiving approached. The world prepared for warmth, family, gratitude. Fitting. Her daughter-in-law called me. Her tone was sharp, entitled. "If you want to join Thanksgiving, come wash the dishes." I heard mocking laughter behind her. I stared at the phone, at the audacity, at the pettiness of people who thought they held power. I replied with one word. Then I hung up. Moments later, I posted pictures to the family group chat. Not captions, no explanation, just images. My private villa overlooking the Swiss Alps. Fireplace like molten gold. Crystal chandeliers. Wine older than their marriages. Silence that cost more than their combined pride. The reaction was immediate. Phone vibrating like a trapped wasp. 71 missed calls. Desperation has a certain ring to it. Sharp, panicked, hungry. I didn't answer. She arrived the next morning, hair undone, eyes frantic. The new husband trailing behind, pale and shaking. She asked if we could talk, voice trembling between anger and fear. I handed her a folder. Phone records, attorney letters, trust documents, proof she would get nothing. Her lips quivered. "You set me up." "No," I said softly, "you revealed yourself." The advisor, her husband, read the documents and crumbled. He wasn't just losing her fantasy of wealth, he had invested expecting access to mine. His voice cracked as he whispered, "You ruined us." I tilted my head. "You ruined yourselves." I simply watched. He buried his face in his hands. She stared at me like seeing a stranger. Good, I finally was. I walked them to the door. No yelling, no insults, just the quiet dignity of truth. She begged then, tears, promises, false softness returning like a rehearsed script. I let her speak. Desperation deserves an audience. When silence fell, I met her eyes. "You never abandoned me," I said. "You freed me." Her face collapsed. He tried to reach for my arm, a pathetic gesture of apology. I stepped back. Distance is a bullet when fired at the right moment. "You chose convenience," I murmured. "Now live in it." I moved to Switzerland weeks later, alone but not lonely. Silence has weight, but it is mine now. Purpose tastes better without parasites leaning over the plate. They still call sometimes. Numbers I do not save, voices I do not recognize anymore. Forgiveness is a gift reserved for the worthy. I keep mine for myself. On cold nights I stand on the balcony, watching snow swallow the world below. Peace isn't loud, it whispers, and mine says one thing, quiet and final.